Mr. Birla, it's a great pleasure to have you with us and be amongst us. A big warm welcome on behalf of everyone. The hall is packed and they're looking forward to this. I don't know, one doesn't have to introduce Mr. Birla, but one interesting introduction I heard about him was the most handsome Indian industrialist. And that's a very striking thing. And the other thing that I would like to say, as someone with whom I have worked for a number of years now, I think you came into business in the early 90s, and Birla Global Broker Conference was the first one that I remember vividly when your late father, dear Ajit Babu, was there at that conference, and we interacted. One thing that has stood out is for you and your group generally, that what you do is important, but how you do it has always been more important. So with that little introduction, maybe we will get into trying to understand who is this person, for whom. Not only, we have seen that the business has been managed in a very dynamic manner. The legacy has been managed in a very dynamic manner. His personal demeanor and personality have been extraordinary and recognized as iconic, and probably recognized far less than I would judge in my own way. So over the next few minutes, I would like to understand and maybe help our audience here and in the country really understand this extraordinary person, Kumar Mangalam Birla. You are the 6th or the 7th generation legatee. I think history shows that it goes back to sometime in 1857 in Pilani when the first significant enterprise started. And you came in at a very young age. So how difficult it was, and what you have anything that you recall from those days?
Yeah, lots that happened at that time. I think the circumstances were such that it was very difficult, without a doubt. But I think that the family, my father, what they left behind was a legacy of goodwill. And that bank of goodwill saw me through a lot of the initial years. But yes, it was very tough, but we had a very good team. It was a team that had built up the organization in the 30 years prior to that. And I was very fortunate to have their support. So I think all of that helped to take me through the first 3 or 4 years.
Because you had just come into business, probably you're not in business for more than 3-4 years, and some of that time went into looking after your father. So it's quite extraordinary, and you made it sound pretty simple. So let's moving on. A 6th generation, 7th generation legacies. There aren't too many in the country, or at least on a pan-India basis, and maybe even a pan-global basis. So what has enabled this group, particularly this branch of the Birla family, to grow from strength to strength over the generations?
Well, I think that essentially, I think that if I could say so, we've been evangelists of good, honest hard work, which has been one common thread throughout the generations, although the times have been different and the business scenario has changed drastically from one generation to another. Therefore, the manner in which business is done and the key success factors have changed over the years and decades. But I think that the important thing about this organization is that it's built brick by brick, and like I said, very grounded in reality. So we focused on the basics. We focused on being good corporate citizens. So I think that it's a group with a conscience. It's a group that's focused on building businesses that are global, now that are global in size, scale, in terms of credibility, in terms of profitability. And I think the other important facet has been that we've always been, now more so than ever, but always been a people's organization, and there's been a huge emotional bond that people who work with the company have with the company. And I think that emotional bond that goes even beyond an intellectual connect with the company makes a huge difference.
I think that's a very interesting point you're making, because some of the other responses that one can think of and one gets in terms of hard work and value system and ambition that sustain business and generations. I think the point about people connect is an extraordinary one, and where you see that in your group, you have very, very low turnover, particularly at senior level. Looking back, it's been 14 very eventful years since you took over. So how would you rate your performance in your own eyes? What gives you happiness about, how do you rate it?
I think that, we've transformed quite a lot as a group, and that's obviously the efforts of a whole team. No one person can actually bring about the kind of change that we have been successful in doing, if I can say so. I think that we've contemporized, we've focused on creating a few large global-sized, global-scale, globally benchmarkable businesses. We've created a meritocracy. We've created a company where people love to work, which is also a sought-after company by employees. And also we've sustained the culture and the value system of the work ethic that we've been known for. So I think it's been a very fruitful journey. I've enjoyed it. I've been very fortunate to have some very brilliant people to work with, some people who've taught me a lot. And I think that the team as a whole has gelled very well together. I think that the team is ambitious, it's very passionate, and like I say, I call it the 3D. It's the team has a deep driven desire to perform and to excel and to achieve. So I think that really is the essence of what the group is all about. It's a people's organization, it's a people's place, and it's a bottoms driven organization.
We'll come to this question of, this balance that we see. I mean, whenever I think of you, I think of balance, so I'll probably explore that. But while we're talking about this people ownership is known factor, but you have to achieve it. So would you like to share how you, and maybe the whole lineage has been able to achieve this? People have worked 30, 40 years in the group, and even at old age, they do not think of their existence on this earth in any manner except being associates of Birlas.
I think for my time I can say that what we have done is to create a meritocracy. And I think that anyone who has merit and who knows that just on the basis of his or her merit he can reach through the layers of the organization to the top, and that he as a high performer, high achiever would be spotted despite being part of a very large labyrinth, is a very energizing thought for people who are high performers. I think also the fact that if you're constantly creating value for people and increasing their intrinsic worth as individuals, as professionals, that's something that's valued by everyone. And I think lastly, it's a genuine concern for people. It's a genuine concern for the quality of their lives. It's a concern for their own professional development. It's a concern and a very proactive working towards giving them more and more responsibilities, higher jobs, and making the whole employment experience a very enriching one for them. So that is something, of course, which has to be a constant endeavor. It doesn't stop at a point in time. It's a constant journey. You can't say that you reach the destination at any given point in time. But I think all of that is what the employment package or the employment proposition from us is all about. Mm-hmm. And I think that people recognize that, they understand the significance of that. They know that there aren't many such situations available in the country in terms of an operating and working environment, and they actually value that.
I think recently the group was recognized as the best employer in